Okay, everybody. So today we are ending the controversy for Tylan 200. I want to say something right now. I read on forums, I did so much research, but they never update their forums and their blogs about using Tylan. They never said if it worked. Some people go by it, some people don't. So we're ending everything right now. So I got a 12 feet Burmese python, 25 pounds. She was about 3 weeks into her respiratory infection. I couldn't get to a vet. Um, it was after Christmas, after bills. I couldn't afford it at the time. And the first 2 weeks, it was heavy breathing, couldn't breathe, opening the mouth. And the last week, started bubbling through the mouth, and I realized I had to do something. I've seen little information on this, and I'm like, you know what? I could buy it over the counter. I'm gonna give it a go. So I seen a couple of people posting their dosage on their snakes, and everybody's was different. So I kind of did my own by reading everybody else's and came to a conclusion. My snake is 25 pounds. I'm gonna give it 2.5 cc's every 3 days for 6 days. For every 3 days, 6 times. So, like, I'm not a vet, and it was very hard doing self-injecting a big snake, which is flexing his muscles, is uncomfortable. It was hard, but I got it done. And I gotta say, after the first dose, 2 days later, I realized she's breathing better. The she's bubbling through her mouth less. I'm like, wow. I don't know if it's in my mind or if this is actually working. So I'm like, okay, give her her second dose. 2 days later, no bubbles in the mouth. She's breathing perfectly fine. And I'm like, wow, this is ridiculous. No culture. I didn't know what type of respiratory infection it was. So for anybody saying you have to go to a vet, you have to know exactly what type of respiratory infection it is. It's like this: how I see it. If you go to a doctor, they not swabbing your mouth, seeing what type of throat infection you have. When you're gonna have a throat infection, they check your throat, say you got a throat infection, they give you something for it. They're not looking for exactly what type of throat infection it is. So that's how I seen it before I went about this. I'm like, you know what, let's give it a go. And I gotta say, it worked. So instead of giving it the whole 6 doses that I intentionally thought, I'm probably gonna give it one or two more just to make sure that it's completely gone. In 2 doses, it completely cleared it from what I see. She's breathing perfectly fine. There's no bubbles in the mouth. All her symptoms and everything is gone. Like I said, 12 feet albino Burmese python, 25 pounds. And I couldn't believe it. And basically, like I said, what I did, 2.5 cc's, I put it in the first upper third of her body, injected it nice and slow because it is a thick liquid. So even bringing it into the syringe is comes out very slow. And injecting it, did it nice and slow. After that, put pressure where it was at to make sure it actually doesn't come back out while she flexes her muscles. And it has been a miracle. Um, I was gonna record giving the injections and through the whole process, but it was me alone. I got a 25-pound snake who's feeling very uncomfortable while I'm trying to put a needle on her while I'm not trying to get bit. And she's broke 2 needles. It was very difficult. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna do a review afterwards. And for anybody who can't go to a vet or just simply wants to self-treat their snakes because it's too much money to cough up, this thing works, and I will swear by it. I'm not saying it's gonna work for everybody because every snake is different, and it's just, I'm telling you, this thing is it. I paid $50 for this. I paid $7 for 10 needles, and my snake is perfectly fine, eating good, no signs of respiratory infection, and this thing has been a blessing. So for anybody that wants this, please go for it and do it. If you don't have the money to invest in the vet, do this. Is it will I'm saying the 90% chance is gonna work for your snake, because I thought my snake had no hope. The bubbles was ridiculous. She was moving slow. I'm like, oh man, she is not gonna make it by the time I get to the vet. She's gonna be too far gone. And this brought her up immediately. Thank you for watching.